are considered keeping certain programs in the city instead of adding. And part of it is including, part of the factors is including other cities and getting other cities' participation within our city. So I don't know if people can see how great Milpitas programs are. Embrace cultural diversity within the city. And also big on our list is youth participation. It's important to have programs that youth are involved in, or what are they doing? If they're not, doing the same programs in the city, if they don't have state programs within the city, they're going to go out and use their time and question them. So something I would like the city to consider in terms of what programs we need.
Great, thank you very much. That's helpful. Are you guys ready to go? Do you have somebody elected to be your speaker?
All right, so it says if you could design an award-winning, unique to Milpitas performing arts program, what would it be? Center Stage Performing Arts. We are so unique to the community and surrounding areas. We bring other people in from surrounding cities to come to Milpitas. This is why I even know where Milpitas is. It's where I've spent my childhood since I was 6 years old until now, where I'm about to turn 30. We are family-oriented. We're flexible. That means we allow children to participate in sports, to work, to hold family commitments, to be part of church and religious groups. We allow them to be in other shows, and we bend to what works for them so that they can be part of our program. We create an opportunity to learn from professionals. We take them to Disneyland where they do workshops with their performers and then perform in the park. We just had a chat back with the Wicked National Tour cast where they got to ask questions before those actors that had just been on stage that they had been watching. We are low cost. There are no theaters in the surrounding areas that can do as much as we can with this low fee of like $130, $150 at most. We prioritize their kids and their experience. We don't care if they're going to make it to Broadway or not. We want them to be here. We want them to have a really good experience. We want them to have a memorable experience, make lifetime memories. Again, I started when I'm 6 and I'm still here. What other theater company does that? We have more dancing and musicals than most in the surrounding area, to the point where some of these kids are so breathless that they can't keep singing for us because we make them dance so much. And again, we're family oriented. This is about the experience. This is about the kids, developing them to be who they are. I have a doctorate because I learned time commitment, and I learned time management, and I learned how to be part of a group. And that's what I learned here, starting at 6 years old, guys. And I kept coming back. When I moved out of state, when I moved down to Southern California, when I was across the country, I came back to this city, and it's not even my hometown. We are unique. We are award-winning to Milpitas.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing and pointing out all the unique things about Center Stage. I'm going to come over to this table now. Do you guys have somebody who's your elected spokesperson? Okay.
Tell us what your problem was and how are you going to solve it?
Opportunity.
Okay, so I guess it's an opportunity, not a problem, but ours is how can we make sure performing arts programs are welcoming and supportive to youth facing challenges of socioeconomic circumstances. So our ideas were to award scholarships and hopefully with the city's help ask local businesses to donate towards these scholarships. And if we do come up with scholarships, then they need to be publicized, so it should be on every publication, application, etc., so that the families know. And sliding scales for multiple family members, so multifamily, like a lot of our kids have siblings, and it does, the costs go up for those families. Some other ideas we have are some fundraisers, like talent shows and fashion shows. I work at a high school, and fashion shows, kids love fashion shows. And we could do different cultural fashion shows. I think that would be cool. All right, our second, because we're overachievers, our second one is what factors would you like to see the city use when prioritizing which performing arts programs to consider adding? And one, I think this is one of the venues, which is community feedback, as well as popularity. And then I think what a lot of this is over is available space. So I think that's it.
Great, thank you so much. And that just ties right in with what council has just recently approved with our Milpitas Assistance Program, expanding what's currently known as the RAP program. Who's your spokesperson?
Okay, our question was, how can city performing arts youth programs serve families who cannot commit to weekly participation or multiple days a week? Some of the answers that we came up with was to focus on one-day workshops, having sing-alongs. So you do an evening of sing-along, which would maybe bring in kids that don't normally get to be a part of a choir. Having open dances with line dancing, that kind of thing, where it's a one-evening event. We talked a little bit about some kind of a van, or city van, or carpooling resources to get some of the kids where they need to go if the parents can't supply the transportation because they're working. Creating, as far as in our rec programs, maybe drop-in classes, and utilizing the park with improv classes, because those are really, can be a one-time event, as well as creating the skits and performing all in one day. And the other thing is, for example, for the theater or the musical theater class, to allow for role distribution. In other words, commitment. If they can't commit to, every week, maybe they can commit just to the weekend of the show, and they can be ticket takers, or they can work with the lights, or they can work backstage with dressing, so that you get to be a part of it, but you're not necessarily coming on a weekly basis.
Woo! I like it.
Thank you. I think we have a lot of really cool ideas at that table. Some really neat stuff. How about you guys? Who's your spokesperson?
Okay, so the first thing that we got was, if you could design an award-winning, unique to Milpitas performance program, what would it be? And what we came up with, which is something that I've actually heard tonight, is a multi-generational performing arts program that is not just about musicians, it's also about singers, and it's also about dancers. So it really does combine, organizations like, Rainbow Theater, it can organize dance troupes, like, ballets, and things of that nature. And one of the unique things about the Milpitas Community Band is I think this is some of the youngest people were in grade school, and we go all the way up to seniors. And so having that multi-generational aspect where it's like, no, it doesn't matter if you're a fourth grader at 10 years old, or it doesn't matter if you just retired, there is a place for you to be able to take the stage. And the second one is, how can city performing arts youth programs serve families who cannot commit to weekly participation or multiple days a week? Now, I don't know if there's any other performance in here, but for those parents, it is an interesting time to memorize lines in a musical program. And we came up with an idea of, well, two ideas technically. One would be drop-in sessions that is based around a theme. So like maybe there'd be like a murder mystery one, or maybe there'd be something that's, or kind of action adventure type deals, or something along those lines. And even holiday specific ones. So like, maybe something for, Veterans Day, for Memorial Day, for tree lighting ceremony, to expand on those. And more or less this will just be done by what's known as a concert performance, which is similar to a musical, except you have the script in front of you. And you have the music in front of you, and you don't have to worry about having dozens and dozens of rehearsals, or hundreds of hours, per performance, trying to memorize lines when it's already right there in front of you. The pressure to perform is that much less, and also it would be more budget friendly because instead of having a huge theatrical expense, it could be something that's a little more down to earth, a little more budget friendly,
that's still, beneficial to whoever's performing, be it singers, dancers, or musicians.
Great, thank you so much. I think we have one more to the board. Who's your spokesperson?
No, that's my daughter's. My daughter's the public speaker, not me. Can I get her? Oh, man, okay. Well, I guess you have intergenerational performance opportunities. Unfortunately, you just covered it all. I'm like, can you just stop so that you leave something for me? We came up with the band along with the musical theater. In Fremont, they used to do that where, and I think you had mentioned earlier, when we were talking earlier, not right now, maybe right now too, that they used to have the performances, and instead of playing the track, they had the band performing. So you could use that and have some of the old or the different ages playing the band as well as the kids, or also adults, having theater with adults and the kids. I know we have the musical theater right now where it's just all kids and everybody gets a part, but some of the other cities around us have musical theater or theater, that's not musical theater, where they have both adults and kids performing together, and that would be another idea. So that was for that one. And unfortunately, she's an overachiever and took another one. You can read the question.
How can we make sure performing art programs are welcoming and supportive to youth facing challenging socioeconomic circumstances?
So we were just talking about maybe having grants or ways that people who or the kids that cannot afford to participate, lower fees or free to if it's they're unable to pay at all. Even at a lower fee for some of these kids, at least you're getting something, and they're able to participate as well as all the other kids. So those are the couple things. And again, I'm not a speaker, that's my daughter.
Thank you so much. And I think the kids are probably all done too. I see their facilitators standing there, so they can come back in and join us now. And we're going to cover a little bit about what did each group talk about. So when the kids get in, maybe we can have them share what some of their challenges were. Before they walk in, do we have a challenge here, an answer here that was the most unique, something that you will walk away from tonight going, gosh, I never thought of that before? Any of these tables come up with something that, gosh, I never thought of that before?
What I'm hearing is that we have lots of different groups in Milpitas, and what we're trying to say is let's gather them together and make an awesome experience, like using the band with the theater, using the senior citizens in the plays. As we gather our community and bring all the different parts, that is when we really will be a community.
Thank you so much. Hey, you guys are welcome to grab seats now. I believe that was one.
I have become a volunteer with Good Candy T15 in Mountain View because we don't have a functional TV station in Milpitas. It exists in City Hall, but it is not functional. It doesn't work. We go out into the community to film activities in the Mountain View area, and with volunteers, and then they show them on the community TV station. We've got to get that up again. So talk about people. It's not only the people who are in the performances. Is you want as many people to see them as possible.
But I got a question.
We have no way of distributing these performances over time. We need a TV station to do that.
So the far left one is youth.
You're certainly right. If people aren't sitting there when the performance is happening, they miss all the wonderful things that are going on stage. I'm going to come over to the kids who are everywhere. Do we have a spokesperson who's going to tell us what the most amazing idea that came out of the kids' challenges was? Okay, I'm gonna give you the mic. What was your challenge and how will you guys solve it?
So our challenge was, how can we make sure performing arts programs are welcoming and supportive to youth facing challenging socioeconomic circumstances? And with that, we came up with kind of like a season pass, where obviously you pay a little more than you would for just one recreational class. But with that season pass, you would have unlimited access to classes. So if you're in theater, you can have acting, singing, dancing classes. Or if you're in sports, you can have like basketball, football, stuff like that. And there would be different sections of the season pass. So you have your athletics program, you have your theater program, performing arts, stuff like that.
And our facilitators have put up the dots for the kids. So let's kind of look and see where we have comparisons and where we have some interesting differences. I see a lot of dots on theirs for youth musical theater and community theater, just like the grown-ups did. And I see some dots for performances in the park, just like on the grown-ups. I don't see too many dots on the music page, but that might be because we're missing some of the kids who perform music tonight. We do have some for community orchestra though. On the dance one, we have more dots on the kids' dance page than we have on the grown-ups dance page. They have a lot of dance party dots. So that was that family-friendly dance party. And they also, just like the grown-ups, have the cultural performance troupe as something that sounds kind of interesting to them. On the educational side, they also are interested in performing arts workshops and intermediate or advanced level classes. And I see we have one dot, a number 1 dot for lecture demonstrations. So if anybody wants to speak up and tell us about that, that would be awesome. They have a lot of dots on their variety page. They've got dots all across the board here. Community talent show, open mics, performing arts workshops, and pop-up performances. So I think we're hearing some interesting things from both groups, both rooms. Does somebody from the kids' room, one of our facilitators, want to tell us about how the matching exercise went, Ruby?
Oh, okay. So for our matching exercise, first the kids were very overwhelmed with how many options we have. We were shocked. But they had a great system and it sounded like they were having fun. But they had really clear logic on what they were going to do. They want to have a pop-up concert in the new mobile stage, or use the library for their community, I forgot the name of it, just one of the other community performances. They also put other in other because that just made sense. Where they were putting the performances and like the pop-up dance things were the same places that maybe the adults did too. I guess we'll find out. But I don't know. I just liked the way they were working together and the logic they were using for what they wanted to see and where. Like it'd be fun to be at a park for a performance in the park, of course. They're just excited about putting something everywhere. They wanted to put something in every single paper, minus like every single park. But they pretty much had a sticker on every single paper to just spread it out throughout the city for different people, different groups.
Excellent, thank you so much. You guys have worked really, really hard tonight, and we really appreciate all the input that you've given us. This is going to help us as we put together the materials that we need to give to City Council. And I'm going to pass the microphone back to Renee so she can tell you about some of the next steps.
Thank you. So as we close, next steps, there's a slide, but I'll talk faster than the slide can get up there. We are putting, we are going to put together all of the input here and take it to City Council for a presentation on October 1st. So this input is extremely important, and we'll be continuing to meet with stakeholders along the way until October. And the second piece is that we've talked with Maywan today, and so there will be the fall production for Center Stage. What it's going to be, I don't know yet. But so we'll be working with Maywan of your input and the great programs that I know Milpitas deserves and has the ability to offer. So that finishes the night. If there's any lingering questions, staff will be here for a little bit. Please continue to help yourself to the rest of the pizza, cookies and fruit, I guess. There's still some water and lemonade. So thank you again. You're our partners in this process, and we should do this more often.